All right, we are live. May 14th. Can you believe it's May? We're ready to drive. Mike's going to drive, even though he's not in the car, but that's all good because this is the way we roll. May 14. Can you believe it's May 14? Wow, it's this year is flying. And I can't quite believe that we're almost at the middle of it. But here we are. We're here for another coaching call, our monthly coaching call, which I think I did push out a little bit because we had a lot of things that were happening in the pack with trainings and retreats and all sorts of goodness, in-person goodness, which is quite unusual for us in the pack because this group started online when we had no choice other than to be online. So it was quite the thing to actually be in front of each other and in proximity, and absolutely loved it. And it's something that I'll just open this call with before we start diving in. But if you've got some questions, and what I would love to do, especially if some other people join us, if you've got questions, pop them in the chat box, and I'll start coming to them. And especially if there's something that doesn't fit in the call, right? If we start coming to the end of the call and you've got something that hasn't been addressed, then I can always bring it into the group and address it there. So start hitting the chat box. You can say where you're calling from, and I love to drop in a word of how we're arriving. Yeah, so how you're arriving into the space and your intention for the call. You know, what you're going to bring, what you're hoping to receive. So a couple of words around that and where you're calling from. I'm calling from the car, says Shani and Sarah. That's where I'm calling from. Hi, Caleb. I see you in the back there. Hey, dude. So one thing that I just wanted to say, which has been really landing for me around, we choose to put ourselves in these environments, even if it's online, right? If that's the only choice that we had, we chose it, right? And during those rather interesting and somewhat challenging and somewhat pivoting and unfolding and inviting us to do something different, those COVID years, right? Those years where we were all online. But what I wanted to share was around the environments that we choose to put ourselves into. Yeah. And I know, Shane, one of the things that you and I have spoken a lot about, that the people that we surround ourselves with is a huge, huge part of, and we've been talking about it in level 4. I can't remember, and Kevin's not here. It's like that you are the average of the five closest people, yeah, in your life. Yeah, you are them, right? So who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? And are they where you want to go, or are they from where you've been? Right? Really powerful thing to start to inquire around. Hey, Sulin. I met Sulin in person when I was in Melbourne, and here she is on the call. Yeah, I love that.
Struggling to get in.
Yeah. Oh, you're in. You're here. You made it. So deepening on that around who are these 5 people that are in our world? What are the environments that you are putting yourself into? Right? What are the situations? What are the circumstances? Because the people are part of that, obviously. But I heard a really incredible coach friend of mine talking, and I shared this with a couple of people over the last sort of 24 hours. And what he was saying was the sickness of humanity, right, is because we're not doing what we love. We talk about what we love a lot in this group. And if you think about it, so many of us, have come from or are still doing jobs that we don't love, right? We're doing jobs we don't love. Yeah, we're surrounded by people that we don't love. We don't even like some of them, right? A lot of the time, and I put in that when people continue to engage with family, connect with family, spend time with family that are toxic, right? Family that are toxic, but they're family. It's like, no, they're toxic for you. So it's these things that we start to get really clear on, because this is creating the sickness in our world, right? Because we're not doing what we love. We're not hanging out with people that we love, that light us up, that blow our hair back, that just, make us want to grab life and go, oh, yeah, this is so good. Yeah, because if you're not doing that, then you're just going to be creating more of the same. Yeah. So I had a really long conversation with a client yesterday around this, because when we continue to put ourselves in environments and situations and circumstances with people that don't light us up, then we're just going to be creating more of the same old patterns. Yeah. So let that one land, because it's a big piece, right? It's a big piece. And when I was talking to this client, new client, in a job that this absolutely isn't what is lighting him up, and I just said, look, I would not put myself in those situations, right? I wouldn't put myself in that environment. Just wouldn't do it. Yeah. And a lot of you will know this very, very important piece. And I think I actually shared it when I was sharing something in Melbourne, Sulan, that, the work that we do here in the Wolfpack provided a choice. It's like, okay, I can live as a victim or I can live as a creator. Now I'm not going to give myself that choice anymore. No choice. Creator all the way. No more choice. No more choice. Yeah. Because if you're not creating what you would love, if you're not getting what you want in life, then you're giving yourself a choice not to. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. All right, let me have a look at the chat box, because I've been so busy talking. All right, this is it. Aaron's gone his way home. Whangarei. Drain sitting in the home office, aiming to get a little enthusiasm again.
Outside. Outside,
Right.
good boy.
I'll just pause Judy, because I think she's talking to a dog. Have waned a little. Well, Leonie, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Calling from the kitchen. Is that the kitchen, Mike? Cooking as I navigate my day with grace. I love it, Auckland. Calling and the letting go of home. Ah, right, cool. New home. That's exciting. Yeah, I'm calling it in for you, holding that end result alongside Tanya. Awesome, guys. So, would love to open the space for questions, for, I guess, reflections on what I've just shared, because it's a big piece. It's a big piece to open the call. Your eggs are looking pretty tasty there, Mike. And let's roll into this coaching call, because we're here for group coaching. Yeah, I will be answering questions. I'll be getting you to reflect on things and helping you shift your orientation out of that one that you're giving yourself a choice to be in, into the other one, right? With the empowered state of being. A creator orientation is what we call it here in the pack. So what's going on? What's going on, team? And we come in and do this because it's so beneficial for the rest of the people that are sitting here, right? To gain awareness from what other people are sharing. So Shane, kick it off. What's happening in your world?
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Yeah, I'd just like to back up what you were saying there, Jacqueline, about being the average of the 5 people that are around you. And I think I was kind of reflecting on this last night. It was either with Sarah or Shani on the phone, and just reflecting back, like how much has changed for myself in the last year and a half. Like, because I'm living up here in this community now, where we hold Entered Spirit Fest and Resolution. And last year, when I was at Resolution Festival, was still in that real imposter syndrome, like, fuck, I don't even belong here. Just sitting with all of that, having that there. And to where I am now, actually living here and being part of that. And this more so, it's the circle of people that I'm here now with on the land. You know, space holders and creators and people who I was like, fuck. Where now it's, you know, we're just family. And being able to move through that space through the last year of having those beliefs, you know, playing out, but just applying this work and to be just completely kind of different mindset to it all, where sometimes that can still play out, just not assigning it the power. And, you know, to a space, what am I trying to say here? Let's go back to, yeah, the sum of the 5 people that are around you. I guess for me, changing so much of my life and ending up here now, it wasn't so much that a lot of people got deleted from my life. It was just a natural product of going after what I love that tended to filter out. And now I'm surrounded by some very, very motivated, powerful people. And it's not by accident at all. It's a result of applying this work. And I've had a couple of amazing opportunities land with me at the moment that I'm sitting with, which are like, fuck, can I do that? And it's like, yes, I can, because I don't have to do it alone. I'm now surrounded and supported by a crew of people that are around me that are there, you know, that we rise together with. And it's phenomenal. So I can now face into a new challenge like this and go, you know what? I might not have all the answers, but I'm fucking supported by this amazing group of people. And yeah, I'm up for that. So it's massive, absolutely massive. If you've got dead shits in your life, you've really got to take that self-responsibility and go, why am I fucking spending time with these dead shits?
Yep. Yeah, it's huge. And we know, right? We know why we're spending time with people that aren't where we're going. Yeah. And I put it really simply, that aren't where we're going, that are where we've come from. Because we're getting something out of it. There's a payoff there. Yeah. And for most of us, it puts us in a rescuer position or a testing of worth, right? When we're surrounded by people who are in a lower vibration than we are, it elevates us. It's like, yeah, I can feel like I fit in. I can feel like I'm worthy. I can feel like I belong with these people. Yeah, but I mean, who's felt that I don't belong here, right? That I don't fit in here. These people are like up here, right? I have so been in that place. And I remember the first times that I started feeling that, which I shared in one of the programs, was when I was at high school, and my mother moved me over to the other side of Auckland, and all of a sudden I was in this really wealthy area, and I was like, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. And these really nice girls who wanted to be my friends, and I just went, can't do it, because all of my shit came up and smacked me in the face. And of course, at that age, I had absolutely zero awareness of it, and befriended someone that I thought was on my level. And then we proceeded to get in trouble together, right? And that's what happened. True story, right? It's a true story. And this is what will continue to play out if we let it get in the way. So tell me, Shane, what did you choose to change that way, right? To change how you were in that place of all this not belonging stuff. What did you choose for yourself?
Yeah, thanks. That's exactly what I was going to speak into. And it's the power of that choosing and the choice, because, you know, I could still have, like, that stuff was real. It was playing out for me, but it was a big decision to go, fuck, I'm here. And I just chose to belong and sort of with grace, but, you know, became a penetrative force into this community and just got engaged and saw myself as worthy, and that came from within. And so I kind of carry that. Like, we've just had a community meeting this morning, you know, and it's like the energy that I bring when I go into there, and it's like, yeah, I'm here because I belong. I'm an integral part of this community. And so that's the way that I show up. I show up with that with that energy and with that intent.
Yep.
And
Changes everything,
you know,
eh?
it's a practice. It's a practice. You know, that shit can still be playing out, but it's like, it's the power of that decision that it's just, no, I do belong here. And that's the way that I get received by people, and it's reflected back as well. And it's really powerful. And then all of a sudden you're like, ah, okay, it's not even a thing anymore. I'm completely comfortable in here.
Yep. Yep. And that the power that it has over you just falls away, right? And this is the piece that we don't wait. We don't wait. And what I've seen in myself, what I've experienced in myself, what I see in clients, what I see in people out there in the world, they're waiting. They're waiting. Yeah. And it's like, what are they waiting for? They're waiting to belong. They're waiting to feel like they belong. They're waiting to feel more confident. They're waiting to have the money. They're waiting to have this. It's waiting, 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 right? Until all of these external conditions of whatever that looks like start to be sorted, and then they'll go and do the thing, right? I'll wait until I belong, and then I'll go and hang out with you. Wait until I feel like I belong, then I'll go and hang out with that other group of people who I think are like next level, right? Which is
Yeah,
bullshit, because you might not ever feel like you belong.
I tried that for 38 years and it didn't really get me very far. Once I made some different choices in the
Yeah.
last 3 years, oh, because I stopped waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to choose it. We have to choose to belong. We have to choose to feel powerful. We have to choose to feel confident, right? We have to choose the energy that we want to bring and then bring it, not wait to feel like it. There's no way I'd ever be doing any of the stuff that I'm doing if I waited to feel like it. Yeah. Because our feelings are just bullshit, right? And there's one of the things we learn really early on in this, is that our thoughts and feelings aren't real. Woof, Sulin, right? It's backwards, yeah? It's backwards. All of the stuff that we've been taught is backwards. Oh, I have to wait until I have the money before I sign up and do this, right? You guys have all heard my car story, which was just the funniest thing. I was, I want a new car, and I had to pay for like my first month of coaching, like high level coaching, and I had no money. Yeah. And my friend just said, just go to the car yard and start walking on the car yard and driving the cars and test driving them. And I was like, but I don't have any money. She's like, she just gave me that love slap that I always talk about, right? So what are you doing? You're a creator. So I started driving the cars, didn't have any money in the bank. Driving these really nice cars, right? Because I knew my car was going to die. And then 3 days later, my stepfather calls me up and says, we're buying a brand new hybrid. We're gifting you our car. I was like, what? Right? This is the way it works. Magic it's not a linear thing that we can, foresee. It comes out of left field because we make the commitment, right? We sign up to do the thing.
It's like being here. I chose this, quite a number of months ago now. I was like, fuck, I'm just choosing to live here. This is it, and whatever it takes to move forwards. And it's like, I still don't have the money for it, but I've found a way to be here. And the property and the bus that I'm going to purchase very soon, like I just secured some money for that, so I can get a deposit down on it. It's like, put yourself in the flex and be in the state, like living in it. Like, I've got 2 weeks where I'm staying in a bus at the moment. I'm already in the lived-in experience of it. It's not technically mine yet, but it is. It's like, as you say, don't wait for the conditions to be right. Just fucking go and do it. Just live it. shit will reorganize and reorientate for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, you hold the end result and you hold it and you hold it and you hold it and you don't let it go, right? And all this shit's flying around, right? That could just any number of stories. You know, I shared with you guys this house that I'm about to move into in like 2 and a bit weeks. Have no idea how that's going to happen. We've got a training happening next week, and it's like, whoa, this is going to be interesting. Yeah. And you just hold the end result, and it all comes together. You know, but it's like the tension, right? I got the hairband again. It's the tension, and as soon as you let go, as soon as you go, shit, it's not going to happen. Shit, and then you're done with whatever it is.
You go.
Yeah, yeah. But the energy is something that I really want to speak to, because you know, this work we do is in relationships, right? And the energy that we bring to our relationships is everything, right? It's everything. And this morning, my little guy had a late night, and he was like, you know, this morning, and he was just like, and I was like, dude, I get it. He goes, I feel sick. And I'm like, because you didn't get enough sleep, buddy. Like whenever I stay up late because I'm excited about what I'm doing, and I'm like, woo, and I'm looking at the clock and it's going, dude, go to bed, you know, and then I'll wake up in the morning and I've got a choice, right? I can either succumb to that and be that old parent that I used to be, or I can choose to bring good energy. And he goes, yeah, but mum, how do you do it? And I'm like, I just choose it. And I don't give myself a choice, right? In that choosing. And he's like, and so, you know, we're running up the driveway, skipping up the driveway, and just, you know, putting on some music. We're both tired. Yeah, we owned that. What are you choosing though? What energy are you bringing? Because it's everything. It's everything. And let's face it, we haven't been taught, or we haven't been modeled, most of us, by our parents to like bring good energy, right? And to be energy bringers. Really different way of being in the world. And it's understanding what's sapping our energy, right? And what's sapping our energy? All the stuff that we've been talking about. Yeah, not belonging, all of the thoughts and feelings that we indulge, that we allow to play out. And one of the things, I know you're about to say something, Shane, but just one of these things that I want to share, it's like, you know, the people that we surround ourselves with, the environments that we put ourselves in, and I did a post about it yesterday about looking after ourselves, right? The mental thoughts that we give airtime, you know, the mental thought processes that we're indulging, because they're there, right? They're there every single moment of every single day. Yeah, and most of them are not helpful. They're not healthy. They're not empowering. Yeah, and it's a matter of, yeah, okay, and just noticing them. Noticing them, becoming the observer, and not allowing them airtime, right? Not indulging them, not giving them power, not feeding that dark wolf, right? By giving it energy. It's the way that we waste the most energy, right? By making our thoughts mean shit that they don't mean, which causes big emotional reactions, right? Yeah. And then just continuing to put ourselves in situations that are that are not serving us.
I just quickly add a little something into that, you know, because there's the other side of that, you know, where we don't want to get into that hiding that shit as well. And I had an experience this morning at this community meeting, and I was like, man, what a fucking beautiful display. Because I sort of showed up with a beautiful energy and just said how grateful I was to be there and be part of it, you know, that inserting. There was a lady sitting there next to me, and she just showed up with the wholeness of who she was at that time and had a really vulnerable share. but it wasn't from a victim place, and it wasn't looking for, come and hug me and love me. She just showed up and she said, fuck, this is how it is for me, what's going on. The bunch of, heavy emotional stuff, but she did it so fucking powerfully, because we don't want to ignore that shit either. It's like, yeah, you can express the lower vibrational stuff because there's space for that here as well. But, are you doing it with victim? And she's been on a couple of Wolfpack calls with us, but hasn't done any training. But I was just sitting there and I was just smiling at her, like just loving her, bringing her fucking tears and owning it so powerfully in a room full of people. And I thanked her for it. And she was just completely lit afterwards. It was like it was washed through. It had space and it elevated everybody else. It wasn't
Yep.
It's like owning that shit powerfully.
Yep. Because it neutralizes it, right? So it's from the moment we're born, we're taught to not feel our emotions and to not express them, right? Squash them down, numb ourselves out, distract ourselves. We see parents distracting their kids all the time. I've done it, right? I've done it. I've absolutely done it. And trying to get them to just stop crying, right? Just stop expressing themselves, their emotions, because it would be making me get triggered. And that's how most of us were raised. We weren't taught to powerfully allow emotion to move out of our bodies, right? We clamp it down, we squash it, we suppress it until it comes out sideways or it starts hurting us inside, right? Creating disease. And when we can learn to get out of its way, right, which is so much of what we do here in the pack, learning how to powerfully navigate emotion, where it's not good, it's not bad, there's no right, there's no wrong, it's just simply energy that wants to move through our body. And when we do that, it just comes out, right? And once it's out, there's space, right? Now there's space. And and not only does it create space in the body, like actual physical space for the new to arrive, which is why this work is so powerful, because I've seen other people do creative development work, but they're not applying it. It's not landing because there's no space for it, because it's so full up with trapped emotion, right? And it was a huge piece for me to observe, and why this is so powerful, to be able to learn how to work with emotion, to navigate it. Reminding me, emotion, energy in motion. Yeah, we just want to get out of its way, right? Because as soon as we judge it, we contract, we hold on to it, and we don't let it out, right? Then it's got the power. There's no space for the new to come in. But also, it's like when we can name it, we let it wash through, which is what you're saying, Shane. We're naming it. We're neutralizing the shadow. Right? When we're saying what's going on for us, right? We're very in tune with current reality, with where we are. Because if we're not doing that and we're just going, happy Georgia, everything's fine, right? This is my mum's way of being. Everything's fine, yeah? And it fucking wasn't fine, right? And I knew it wasn't fine. And it meant that I questioned my intuition from a really early age, because I'm like, she's saying it's fine. I'm feeling that it's not fine. I must be wrong. So I must listen to what other people are telling me, right? Outside of myself, and not be in tune with what I'm intuitively getting, right? With what I'm sensing. And this is the biggest problem out there. One of the biggest problems, right? And what it means is that, when we're wearing this mask of everything's fine, we're bypassing the truth of where we are just to get somewhere else, right? And by that, we're actually giving it power. It's getting the power, because we're trying to fucking pretend it doesn't exist, right? And when what we resist persists. It will get you. It will hound you. It'll track you down, and it will get you eventually. But when we name that stuff, right? Man, this is where I am at the moment, right? I'm taking a deep dive in my victim. I'm swimming around in victim stew, right? Or whatever it is, and okay, cool. Yeah, I'm drowning, man. I'm, like the duck. This is the duck analogy or the swan, whatever's on the surface of the water looking all calm, and underneath they're going, ah, fuck, right? The truth of where you are, naming it. Like when I woke up this morning, I said, dude, I'm really tired too. So we're both in this place. How are we going to roll with this? We can swim around in that sludge. Yeah. We name it, we neutralize it, and then we shift. It's both. It's both. Yeah. We've got to be in tune with where we are, what's happening around us, right? The truth of where we are and where we want to go. It's all right, Maura. Lovely to have you here. Yeah, both. It's both. Hey, Shane, it's both. And that's the power of this stuff, because we work with both. We don't deny where we are. We don't deny where we've come from. Yeah, what we do is bring it up to the surface, shine a light on that sucker, become very, very aware of it, and shift the focus to somewhere else.
100%. I had one of our beautiful pack members who just hit me up yesterday afternoon and just said, fuck, basically I'm in my shit and a fucking shoulder or whatever. And I'm like, wow, I can do a video call, and just held space for that and just allow them to fucking have a dump and then provide a little bit of a reflection afterwards. And man, she was in a completely different state after that. And it was just a beautiful experience,
Yep. Awesome. Horsome, as I'd say to my boy. Horsome. And then we go like a horse. It's very silly, but it's fun. It's fun. So what else? What else is happening? I know Sarah's left a question, but she's not here, so I can always come back to that later. It is a good one. And it is very much in line with how we look after ourselves so that we can bring the best of us, right? To whatever we're doing, to our relationships, not just what's left of us. And it's really sitting with me how people they're not looking after themselves, right? They're not looking after themselves. Yeah, and across so many different aspects, right? The 4 aspects of alignment that a lot of us on this call navigated through in a recent training, right? The mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, right? And then this other piece that we're deepening into around, how are we using our energy? Because our energy is the most precious resource we have, right? Our time and our energy. How are you spending it, right? Interesting that we use currency terms, right? How are you spending it? Yeah, your time, your energy, your attention. And we also pay attention. What do we paying attention to, right? It's all currency based. It's fascinating, right? But this is what it is. These are the most precious resources we have. And most of us are not savvy or have awareness around what we're actually focused on, right? What we're paying attention to, what's sapping our energy, and we're not looking after ourselves. Huge. So I'll speak to that a little bit later, but anyone, Larissa, were you going to ask something? I love your hat, my love. Looking very suave.
Oh, it makes me look so much better than how I feel. I went, oh, actually, I look okay. I'm ready to look like a fucking wild banshee. I feel so bad today. Like I'm fighting a cold and I never get sick. And I feel scared, like to the core of my being. I feel actually really scared. And I find fear the most difficult, I would say, emotion to navigate. And yeah, so I actually just went out in the garden and did some gardening for an hour. I'm glad I clicked on my phone because I was resisting it, and yeah, saw that this call was on. I'm seeing that some things that I've been focusing on for a long time, and I even gave up doing my choices because nothing was manifesting. So but it's actually starting to come back. Like the things I've been focusing on are actually starting to manifest after 6 months of not really doing my choices much. And yeah, so like my music, I've met someone that's got an even more amazing jam space and lives around the corner and is gonna hold jams, and I don't have to do it as much, and I'm creating a job in environmental education that is just arriving in a different way than I put it out there. But yeah, and even yesterday I had talks with a friend about starting a little community, and they were keen, and so things are starting to shift in my life, but I'm freaking the fuck out. Like I noticed today, I really don't feel safe, and yeah, I just feel really ungrounded, and I'm trying to ground. And then I met this guy and I actually feel attracted to him. I don't know how, but I haven't felt attracted to anyone for like a year or a year and a half or 2 years anyway. And then all of a sudden, all of it, all at once. And I'm like, oh, I just feel so fucking unsafe. And yeah, that's how I feel.
Cool. It's all on. It's all on. Yeah. It's another conversation that I've had just over the last little while. And I don't know if you've seen that image, but there's an image that I saw on Facebook, and it's this cartoon character that's behind bars, right? He's in prison. He's got a stick. There's a key for him to get out of prison, and there's a loaf of bread, and he's going for the loaf of bread, right? And this is the, like, it illustrates how survival is just so ingrained in us, right? That survival is what it's all about. And as we've deepened into the work that is the way of the wolf pack, right, we understand where that comes from. Yeah, we've got these beliefs. We feel unlovable. We feel like we don't belong. We feel unsafe. We can't trust, right? All of that stuff is deeply ingrained in us. And what that means is that our lives are at stake, right? And that's the stuff we're pulling through with us into our adult years. And most of the world is walking around feeling unsafe. Right? And going back generations, apparently we carry up to 6 generations of fear in the cellular structure of our body. 6 generations, right? Like there was stuff going on 6 generations ago, right? That, my mother, when I think about my mother, she was born during the war, right? 1942, wartime, huge, right? And we wonder why we're walking around with fear, like feeling fear, because it's in the cellular structure of our bodies, right? Which is why the emotional work is so incredibly vital, right? Larissa, you know this in terms of the somatic stuff that you do and how important it is to ground ourselves. And fear isn't real, right? It's not real. It's an acronym, right? What is it? False evidence appearing real is one of them that I know, right? And I remember, actually, Aaron, you're on the call. I remember when you were getting ready to dive into level 1 and level 2, and you were saying, "Whoa, I got all this stuff coming up," and I was like, "Dude, what are you afraid of? What's the worst thing that can happen here?" And you went, "Oh, actually, yeah, I get your point." It's like, when we start to drill down to what's the worst thing that can happen, because a lot of this fear doesn't take into consideration that we actually have systems in society at the moment that are going to catch us, right? We have welfare. We have, these things. We have friends and family that are not actually going to let us end up homeless on the street with no food, right? It's like, but that level of fear that's in here becomes the tiger in the corner of the room, right? And one of the best examples that I use to illustrate this, because I used to teach hypnobirthing to birthing couples, is that it's crazy that we expect a birthing mother to get to a certain place in her labor and then take her out of her environment and go into a hospital and then wonder why her labor stops, right? I mean, what the hell? Yeah. But labor will stop whether the fear is a real fear, whether there actually is a tiger sitting in the corner, or whether it's just perceived. The labor will stop, yeah, at the threat, because perceived fear is the same as real fear in our consciousness. So when we start to get really clear and have awareness around that level of fear, yeah, we can start to reorientate ourselves, even though the feeling is very there, right? Like, I mean, I can feel it in you, Larissa. I'm sure everyone on the call can feel, the ungroundedness, and I'm really feeling it with you. And how we move from that place, even though it's there. Yeah, how we support ourselves with what we're experiencing, and then how we, like somatically, how we go and ground what we need, like asking yourself what you need at the moment, Larissa. Okay. Fuck, if I was there, I'd be, do you want a fucking hug, sister? Can I just wrap you up in my arms and bring you some of that beautiful mother or father energy? I mean, that to what is it that you need in terms of your emotional, physical body, and then bringing the consciousness in, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of the moves that I made, I mean, Sulin was here a second ago, she might be off camera at the moment, but making their move to go to Melbourne a few weeks ago, like, I was terrified to do that, right? Money, time, had a training, all of the things that were coming up. Was it true for me to do? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm fighting a cold as well. Things are a little bit more difficult because I can't go swimming or, like exercise to ground myself. And it's a little bit more challenging for me to mother myself in this space.
Mm-hmm. It's when we have to ask outside of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Along with the question of, why do you have a cold?
Yeah.
Yeah, why do you have a cold?
Yeah.
Another client that I was having a conversation, is an old client, not a client anymore, but I was having a conversation with them about antidepressants, doing things along in the medical world, right? Like, I don't diss antidepressants, as long as you take the antidepressants and do the work to understand why you need the antidepressants in the first place. Because if you don't do that, then it's a band-aid, right? You're masking something.
It feels like the cold is because I plan to work this week, so I'm a bit financially behind, and my pattern is, just to do some work and then I'm okay. Like, it's that thing, because the work that I'm doing is not what ultimately I want to be doing, I guess. And I feels like the cold is the perfect excuse for me not to do that pattern, and to look at that pattern, and to look at the work that I'm doing and how I'm not actually feeling as in alignment as I was feeling about it. And then that feels terrifying as well. It's like, well, what the fuck? How am I immediately going to support myself? So yeah, it feels like the cult, like part of me is going, oh, thank goodness I don't have to do that work. Thank goodness I don't really want to. And I kind of need space to get real about what I really, really want to be doing with my energy now, because something big has shifted. And yeah, so that's what it feels like. The cold's there for, just to keep me out of the old band-aid.
Yeah, and our body starts yelling at us when we're not listening. Right? When we're not listening. And just a couple of things that I want to speak to, because that's why we get sick, right? Why we have injuries, we're not listening. Yeah. And when we stop and we listen, and like, a lot of you guys who were at the retreat know, this is my spot, right? This is, when I'm not listening, it's the throat that starts to kick off. And I felt the throat starting to kick off a few days before the retreat, and I was like, oh my God, here we go. All right. And then I roped in help, right? Jasmine came in and took the embodiment pieces. She took the evening sessions, right? It was amazing. and my throat was great, like pretty much the whole way through. I was able to give my fisherman's friends to Sarah, because she needed them more than I did, right? And then afterwards, the throat kicked off again. It was like, okay, are you going to dive straight back into all the things that are now ready to go, that are wanting your attention, or are you going to chill the fuck out for a few days, right? And what did I do? I chilled the fuck out because that's what I needed to do. We need to listen. But the thing is that, the fear or the, oh my God, I don't know what to do, or I don't like what I'm doing here. And I know this will resonate for a few of you. I don't like my job, or I don't like my work, or I don't like this, whatever's going on. And the making that bad or wrong, that I've got to stop doing that now, right? Because I'm being called in this other direction. I'm feeling out of alignment, whatever it is. Yeah, and I even had a client who was talking about her husband. She said, but he's been offered this job and he hasn't had work for a little while, but he shouldn't take that job because it's not in alignment with what he wants to do and where he wants to go. And it's like, yeah, but you still need to put food on the table, right? You still need to eat. You still need to feed your kids. You still need to have the heater going, whatever. As long as you are moving towards where you want to go, right? Means to an end is the way I call it. It's like, do the job, right? If you're stuck there for the next 25 years, then yeah, okay, I'd be feeling a bit shit about it too. But if you know that you're doing this job, this work that you're really good at, or that you have been good at, or it's got you to where you are now, and right, it's like you look at same thing about looking underneath, not just having it as a band-aid, right? Working out the reason why I needed the antidepressants, working out the reason why I needed, why I got sick. What do I ultimately want to be doing? Okay, I'm still trying to work that out. But in the meantime, I'm going to make sure the bills are paid. It's a means to an end. But beating yourself up about it is only going to sap your energy, and you're going to end up sick.
Yeah, I'm not real sick. It's just kind of fighting it off, but it's giving me a chance to see that part of me that's going, yeah, I'm sick.
Totally. We get sick for many different reasons, right? Yeah. One of the biggest ones, and because I'm just looking at your comment here, Leonie. Strange, the mention of a hug brings tears to my eyes. Yeah. Yeah, I get it, right? And now we're talking about the needs that we have, right? Looking after ourselves, physical, nurturing, nourishing, looking after ourselves. And if we're not getting enough of that, we get sick. Because what did we get when we were sick, when we were kids? We got nurtured. We got, generally, right? Not everybody did, but
Not all of us.
not all of us. Yep. And I'm definitely going to tap that off, because that is true, right?
Whoops. Didn't
Thanks,
realize my
Moira.
mic was on.
No, that's all right. But there was a good
That
comment.
was a slip.
No, it was a good comment, lovely. So I'll mute you again, but it was a good comment, because not everybody did. But even a lot of kids that were in, very challenging upbringings, they got attention, or they got better, or not quite so bad, right? Something shifted when they were sick. Not always. Yep, there are these very, very extreme cases, of course. And a lot of the time, the reason why we make ourselves sick is to try and get what we actually need, right? To try and get our needs met. For care. Yeah, for love, for nurturing, for nourishment, being taken care of. Yeah. And it's one of the pieces, hey, Larissa, because I know that we talk a lot about resourcing ourselves in this group, right? Where we're not having to unconsciously demand and get our needs met from other people. However, while we're still building ourselves up, right, learning what it is, the patterns that play out, that stop us from looking after ourselves, because this is definitely a theme of this call, we got to ask for help, right?
Yeah, it's not like I haven't been getting help or anything. My mum's been here for 2 weeks, and I think it's come up in response to her leaving, actually. I enjoyed having her here.
Mhm. Yeah, Mum, I'm sick. I need you to stay. Feels it, right? Right?
I just-
I need you to
yeah,
stay and look after me,
I think
Mum.
it's about me stopping the mental flagellation that I wake up with. It's me putting the sword down towards myself. I think it feels like that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about, am I going to perpetuate this fear-based mental flagellation that I wake up with, like, am I doing the right thing with my life, blah 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 blah, or am I going to just actually be better towards myself, like, even like, get up, do yoga, get up, blah blah blah, like I notice when I wake up, it's like, I'm already on my back, I'm already scared about something. And yeah, I'm over it. My will inside me is over it. My will inside me is over that dynamic. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's changing somehow. Yeah, redesigning that. Just saying no to it. I just cannot do it anymore. I'm done with it. I'm done with that relationship with myself.
Yep. And you got to be done. You got to be done. And this came up in the retreat for the people that were there. It's like, you got to be done. Yeah. Because then once you're done, then you're not going to give yourself a choice anymore.
Yeah, because I went through this. My mum has been so amazing about, how you work through all this stuff about your parents. We all do. Every time my mum come to see me, we'd be drinking wine and we'd be working through issues. And this time it was done. It was like, we're done, Mum. Like, my discontent about not being breastfed, I got the other side of the story of what it was fucking like for her, and I really got the other side of the story. I really got it from her. She's been holding a lot back, a lot of sort of secrets that she didn't want to tell me, and I just got it, and I was like, fuck, we are done. You don't have to hold that anymore. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it's kind of that as well. But with that, not outsourcing the mother or the discontent about the mother, the light comes on me, and I'm like, well, how am I fucking mothering towards myself? I'm not actually that great at mothering me. If I'm waking up with not good enough straight away coming at me and being affected by it, I'm just like, well, what my rights as a human being not to be treated like that. Thank you very much. Yeah. So it's an inner dynamic, I think, that is now on me, because I'm no longer prepared to blame my mum or anyone for it.
Yes. Who resonates with that? Not so good at mothering themselves, right? Yeah. It's big, hey? Yeah, it's really big. Yeah, beautiful.
A lifetime journey, yes, it is. That finally there's a point where you've got to put the sword down, eh?
Yeah. 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 Most of our mothers weren't mothered. I think I told you guys that I've had some beautiful conversations with my mother since I stopped blaming her and stopped resenting her, and trying to understand where she'd come from. Because she shared with me, she said she never got hugged, not once in her whole childhood. Her mother was cold, her mother was in survival. Her mother was getting food on the table and washing the clothes and doing the things, and
Well,
our
our also didn't have like support networks, like financial support networks, so they were alone and they didn't have the internet. They didn't even have midwives. My mum didn't have a midwife, and she didn't even have a phone at home, so she was at home with this new baby, and it wasn't breastfeeding, and she didn't want to call her mum because her mum was so disapproving of her having the baby, and she had no one, like literally no one, no midwife, no phone, no internet, nothing to tell her what to do.
Yeah. And because we're not taught what gets in the way of creating what we need, right? The support network, the relationships, right? The village, the community, right? We're not taught how to do that. We're not taught what gets in the way of us doing that, right? Because when we wake up and the very first thing that we're feeling is not good enough, don't have enough time, not enough, not worthy, right? And then that just pollutes our entire day.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's the energy that we bring, yeah, to everything. And is that going to help us create the support networks that we need, right? The friendships, the communities? No, it's not. Absolutely not. It's like if Tony Thorne was here, bless his heart, he used to, and this is what he said to me, like he's got a big not belonging, right? It's one of the beliefs we definitely share. And he said to me, he said, I walk into a space and it's like I've got fuck off tattooed on my forehead, right? Because he's running that not belonging belief. So that's the energy that he's putting out. And this is what we do. If we're waking up with that shit playing out and we give it airtime and we just allow it, that's what's going out, right?
But even if we just react to it and go and do yoga to ground, to get ourselves out of it, it's still a dysfunctional dynamic. Like,
Yep, it is. Yeah, no question. It's fucking dysfunctional, right? And it's just whether or not we give power to it. Yeah, like this morning I woke up feeling like shit, and that would have ruined my entire day. I would have, yelled at the kids and made them go to school, and right? And instead I chose something different. Yeah. Which comes from the ability to go, this is where I am. This is the shit that I'm in at the moment. And, right? What's the and? Yeah, because we've all got that shit. We've all got our version of it. And where is it that we want to go? Where's the focus? What's the vision here? Because I know for me and my mum, like I said to mum, look, that's where we've come from in terms of, we were talking about Christmas. I know I've shared this with you with you guys before, and I said, this is what I want to create for us for this upcoming Christmas day. I was like, we leave the judgment at the door. Don't even bring it into my house, right? Because my God, my mother's the most judgmental person I've ever met. Bless her, right? And it's all her own internal judgment that she has on herself, right? And it just spews out onto everybody else. And I said, I want it to be loving. I want to feel connected. I want to have fun. I want it to be playful. And she goes, oh, that sounds nice. Yeah, let's do that. We had the best Christmas we've ever had. Because we shone a light on the shit, right? Let's not do that judgment stuff. If you're gonna pick holes at how clean my house is, don't come over, right? This
but
is
how
what
do you
I
do
want to
that,
experience.
Jacqueline? How do you
What's
do
it?
that with yourself? Like, how do you just tell yourself, look, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm not prepared to deal with this anymore.
Yeah, you don't give yourself a choice. You don't give yourself a choice other than to focus on the vision. Like I've shared with a number of you my yoga right now, and like Tanya, I've shared the yoga teacher that I use. I do not give myself a choice other than to do yoga every single day. No choice, right? Even if I'm tired, even if I'm grumpy, right? I will do it every single morning. Even when I was in Melbourne and I had no yoga mat, Shani, I was doing it on the carpet in my hotel room because I wouldn't give myself a choice, because if I do, my body starts yelling. Even after one day, I've discovered, right? And now I do it at night too. So I do yoga twice a day. Who the hell would have thought of that, right? And this is coming from me not that long ago, who would sit at my desk for like hours and hours at a time and then wonder why my hip is feeling like I'm 65, right? Because I knew that if I didn't do something about it, I'm going to end up with needing a hip replacement in 10 years or something. And I was like, I'm not that woman, right? I'm not going to be that woman. So no choice, no fucking choice. Yeah. Because it will try and get you. Yeah, it will try. And I had it just the other day where I was sitting here at my desk because I really wanted to get something done, and my back was going, no. So what did I do? I turned everything off. I got into the bath because that really helps. And then I did yoga. Everything inside of me was screaming to stay at that desk because that's where I test my worth. So giving the power to your creator, right? Giving the power to your creator habits. Yoga is one of my creator habits. All right, what are your creator habits? And you're not the only one that's let go of their choices for a time. That's for damn sure. It happens, right? It happens. Yeah. It's like, how can I get these back on board?
Yeah.
Yeah. And getting creative about that. I used to start like, singing them. I used to start like dancing them out, like, whatever it is that exactly, Moira. I was interpretive dancing my choices because I got to get this energy back into me somehow, right? Some way.
Yeah, well, I have started doing them again, and then things are shit is happening.
Yeah, funny that, right? Who would have? Because we're putting energy into the other direction, into the other orientation. Yeah, even if you ring up and say, I need someone that's going to do my choices with me because I am avoiding them like the plague here, It's like whatever it takes. And when we were at the retreat, we did that really simple practice. Like I got everybody to bring in an old experience of something that really upset them and something, when they were really down and really low or really in fear, right? And like this. And then it's an old Tony Robbins thing, right? Where you put your hands up and you look at the ceiling and you start making faces at the ceiling and you start laughing. And it's really hard to be low when you're doing stupid shit like that. But you can't give yourself a choice. Because if you do, the old pathway, the ingrained pathway is going to win.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's coming up for me is I really do want to hold space for the intuitive reading of this group, like regularly every 2 weeks. And I haven't been acting on it, but I'll just say it now that I would love to have a platform every 2 weeks to do intuitive reading with each other. Yeah.
Cool.
All the wolf.
Thank you for putting that in. Let's talk about that and how we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Cool. Tabled, seed planted, and we will do it because I love it. Yeah. And I know that is not only going to support me, it's going to support the pack, it's going to support you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to someone the other day and it's like they were saying, but you're like so far ahead and blah blah blah, and I'm like, man, I live this stuff every single moment of every single day, right? It's my work, it's my life, it's what I coach in, I train in, I do programs, I'm immersed in it every single moment of every single day. Like I dream about this shit too, right? It's like, it's ridiculous. And not everybody has that. A lot of people have day jobs, right? Where they have to take this kind of hat off, and it's not like it can't come into that, because it does. But you know what I'm saying, right? I don't give myself a choice anymore with any of it. And because of that old pathway, where the energy follows the path of least resistance, right? It's going to that old way of me in my victim circle, that downward spiral of me being in my shit, is less and less and less, because I'm just like, no, we're going this way. Yeah, I know this here. We're going this way. We're going this way. Hey, we're going this way. Let's go this way. Over and 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 over again. Yeah. Even when it feels like shit. Yeah. And I don't know if you know about human design. Have you done any human design, Larissa? Have you got an open?
Yeah, we did it in the last course pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an open will center? Is yours defined or undefined?
It's undefined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's harder. It's harder for people that have undefined will centers to engage their will. It's harder. Yeah. So what you need to do is have a pack around you so you can tap into their will, right? I've got enough will for fucking everybody, right? Just come and take some of my will, because my will gets me into trouble because I over will, right? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. 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 And then I'm in a hole, right? So come and tap into other people that have got defined will centers. We all have challenges around engaging our will because we were all conditioned out of it from a very early age. But if you've got an open center, it means you're more susceptible to that conditioning. Yeah, that it's not okay for you to use your will. It's dangerous, actually. That's the level it goes to, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why you're in fear all the time, because it's fucking dangerous to use your will.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My whole chart's open except for 2 centers,
Yeah.
so it's interesting for me, but structure really helps. So I
It
do feel that it'd be great to have an intuitive reading circle every 2 weeks. I do feel like that would be quite integrative and supportive for those that aren't even in the inner circle as
Cool.
such.
And are you wanting to lead that? Can I
I can
support
lead
you
it.
to lead that?
I'd
Yep.
like someone else to eventually take it as well, but I can lead it for a little while.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Let's talk about that later, because
Yeah.
I've got a structure that's very easy to follow, and we can make that happen.
Yeah, let's do that.
Perfect, because that will hold you in this as well. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What a great conversation, right? It's a really, really great conversation, because it's so relevant, right? So relevant. What else have we got? What's happening? I can see comments. I don't know if there's any questions. And I think we've been speaking around the one that Sarah brought in anyway. But anything else that's alive, that's coming up for people? Thanks, Larissa, for bringing you and your heart and your vulnerability. It's always amazing to see you, love. Anybody else got some things? Oh, new message. Ah, cool. Shani would love that too. Shani,
I got one.
what do you got?
I'm just laughing at myself because I've moved through this, but I'm just sharing it because it's funny.
For the benefit of others.
For the benefit
Shani's going to share her journey.
I got really in my shit like for 24 hours, like it was like Sunday and Monday, so like from Sunday afternoon to like Monday morning, and just had a communication disconnection, and it was just interesting all the shit I was making it mean. Yeah, and it was like it's one of these things where I was like, you know how we go from like that place of like when we're really triggered and we can't see anything, it's just like rah. You can't even be like, I'm triggered, you're just like all this rage or all this sad or all this whatever it is. And then you kind of step to a point where you're like, look at me over there being really triggered, but also rah. Yeah. And so most of the time when I'm triggered, it's like an oscillation between like, I've got these really big feelings, but yeah, that's that's probably not real, but they're still there.
Probably.
I didn't say it was in power, Jack.
No, probably not real, I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you're reacting, it's not real.
Yeah. It feels real though. Like being aware, being aware, like all the things I know, but also the things I'm feeling, and just like oscillating between those two things. And then I just kind of watched all my patterns and my programming starting to play out, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like I'm starting to like shut down. I'm starting to be like, yeah, like, making up all these stories in my for me to rationalize what's happening so I can understand. And my ego was getting real happy. It's like, see, told you that was a fucking bad idea.
Yeah. So your ego can be right.
Yep. It's like, yep. All those things we were right about those. yeah. And so in the end, I just picked up the phone and literally just had a conversation and was just like, so yeah, like kind of need to speak into this. And just sort of having awareness of like how hard that is. Like when you're in your shit, even when you know you're in your shit, to pick up the phone and talk to the person who you're in your shit about and be like, here is this bit I would prefer not to share, but it's real and I need to talk about it. And just how much, when I have the bravery to do that, how much it transforms the situation. Yep. And how much it takes the power out of all my stories and all my little, I've just got back into wheel ruts. And it was like, like when you go camping or fall driving and there's like these giant big ruts and you just fall in there because everyone else has gone the same way. It's like, yeah, like old patterns are a bit like that. It's like, no, we're going to like not fall into the wheel ruts, but it's so easy to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it does, like when you own it as yours, right? When you own it as yours, it's like, and I've said to a lot of you in the level 4 container and the retreat, it's like the universe is happening inside of us, right? There's actually nothing going on out here. It's all a reflection of what's going on in here. And when we're aware of that, it's like, yeah, I got some stuff coming up and I want to share it with you, and it's got nothing to do with the person that's there. Unless we make it have something to do with them, right? Unless we make it theirs and we go into blame and we go into all of that old stuff. But it's a really empowered position to have when we know that whatever's going on around us is what we're creating. And it doesn't give us a leg to stand on to be angry, right? Because it's like, well, if someone's treating you badly, if someone's not communicating in a way that you want to be a part of, then you're allowing it, right? It's a huge part of what we're doing here around understanding our reality. And being the observer in it, right? Observing it. And that one line, if you're hysterical, it's historical, right? It's old shit. It's not even with the person that you're there with. It's old. And when you can say, okay, I got some old stuff coming up, if you can just be here, because as soon as we have any expectations or any demands on the other person to receive it in a certain way, to respond in a certain way, to do anything, right? We can make requests. But if we're expecting and demanding, it really gets uncomfortable. It screws things up, is what I'm trying to say. It screws things up. And so does our emotion, right? So does our emotion. And one of the things that has really, really supported me, which I've shared with some of you, is that when that emotion is really big, right? And I had something come up the other day where I got a message from someone. It was like, and I could feel it, right? It was like, okay, I'm not going to respond until I've allowed this energy to move, right? I'm not going to respond. Who responds like when they've got they're in the reaction and then they're typing the message, right? Or they're leaving the voice message, or they're ringing up, or they're yelling at their kid, and yeah, Leonie, this was me,
Oh, no.
right? And sometimes it still happens. Like I was saying to my kids the other day, and it was just coming out. And I was like, just ignore what I'm saying. It's just coming out, and just, I can't stop it. Normally I can, and I can't at the moment. And I just let them know. And they're like, okay, Mum, all right. Right. I let them know that I couldn't stop it. Yeah. Normally, right, when I'm being all conscious and stuff, I would take myself away. I'll go and do 20 star jumps. I'll go thump my beds, or my pillows on my bed. I'll just allow the energy to move through, and then I can come back and I can type that message, right, from a different state, because the reaction has moved. Yeah. Did you do that, Shani?
Oh, yeah, I spend 24 hours thumping the shit out of my pillow.
Sweet. right? Because this is really powerful, because when we move from reaction, what are we going to get?
Reaction.
A lot of the time, we're going to get more reaction, or we're going to get aloof, right? That person's going to get the hell out of here because they're like, I don't want to be around that shit, right? Yeah. We're going to get dysfunctional relating behaviors because we're bringing reaction.
Relating behaviors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing for me is that I didn't actually go into the conversation with any anger or accusation, and it wasn't
Nice.
even, I didn't even need a sorry. Like, it wasn't like I wasn't making the other person bad or wrong. I was just like, oh, this is like what's coming up for me right now, and this is how I'm feeling. And I just kind of need to check in and get a reference point of how far into story I am. Am I at like page 65?
Oh my God, that's so good. Yeah. How far down the downward spiral have I gone? How far, which rabbit hole have I gone into? Yeah. And sometimes just talking it out, it becomes very clear, right? Yeah. And when we own it as ours, it opens the conversation rather than closing it, all right?
Mm.
Yeah. Every time Maura says something, she comes off mute and joins the conversation. It's beautiful.
Oh, sorry. What a gal.
That's all right.
I have a question. I wonder if there's room for that.
Yeah. Are you complete, Shani? You good? Yeah.
I'm
Cool.
complete.
Maura. Thanks, lovely. It's a
I'd-
great
I'd-
conversation to have.
Yeah. I'd love some guidance on how you might approach someone who doesn't have that level of awareness, who's in your space, doing that manipulative, silent treatment and sucking the energy out of the room.
Yeah.
And remain kind as well, because I'm really I'm very protective of what I've built, and I want to be very kind, but I don't want to have any that kind of nonsense is not tolerable in my space. So I'd love it if anyone had a suggestion, not how to have the whole conversation, but how to start that conversation with someone who's doing the fakey, I'm fine, there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it depends what you're getting at in terms of what the behavior is. If it's behavior that's not okay for you, is it them just kind of pretending everything's okay, or is it behavior that's coming back at you in reaction?
Yeah. Let me first put my cards on the table. I have been that person in my life. I have been that person.
Me too.
And I've done the work to not do that shit.
Yeah.
So the scenario is this person behaves differently around different people
Yeah.
in the room, changes the behavior, very chameleon like. When someone else is in the room, be nicey, someone else, weird, disturbed energy, and it's just suppressed, what do you call it? Hysterical.
Yeah, emotion and
But simmering rage, yeah.
Yep. And is
But
this
may not even
person
be
that
aware of it.
yeah. Is this person is this a person that you want in your life?
It's someone who's in my house,
Right.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a new flatmate who was kind of sure for a while, but the patterns of behaviour are undeniable, and I don't know quite how to
How to approach it?
yeah,
Yeah.
with a degree of sensitivity. I know I need to keep my stuff out of it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a degree of sensitivity, and it is a degree of meeting people where they're at.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. And not having expectations on others to be a certain way, right? And to act a certain way.
Yeah, but we've got a baseline as well.
And in balance with
Yeah.
what we're okay with and what we're not, and what we're willing to tolerate. And like I've had a number of conversations, like Shani and I have spoken about this, about housemates and people that are in your space, because people are at different levels. And as soon as you start to work on yourself, you're putting yourself in it, you're at a different level, right? You're at a different level of consciousness, a different level of relating, a different level of awareness. And then it becomes about, I mean, Larissa's just written it. What is it that you want? Like, what is your vision for how you want to be in the home that you're in, right? And whether or not this person is able to be a part of that, or whether they're just not.
That's right. That's actually what I want, is to clarify with sensitivity if they're going to be able to own their shit when they're in it, or
Yeah.
take themselves out of the space and stop pretending and faking it.
Yeah.
Because it's we got 2 women and we've got a man. I've never dealt with a passive aggressive man before, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay, and yeah, it's not my job. It's not what I want to do.
No,
Yeah.
because there's a dance here between boundaries,
Yes,
very
dance,
clear
that's
boundaries
right.
about what's okay and what's not okay for you, and on the other side of that, what do you want? Like what is
That's a
it that
good
you want to
question.
create?
Yep.
Because I've got a housemate. I have a lovely man that lives with us, and I had no idea that there were drinking problems, right, and drug problems, and this came up, and my choice was, do I want that in my home, right? Is this the way that I want to live? And it was a no, right? I'm still holding my vibration high. I'm still holding what's important to me. I'm still bringing the level of communication that I want to receive, right? Which means I'm owning my stuff. I'm being honest, and I'm being open, and I'm bringing that rather than just expecting it to come the other way, because I know I used to do that a lot. Right? I wouldn't communicate, but then get pissed off with other people when they weren't communicating.
That's right.
Yeah. So I did that a lot. So I'm committed to the practice of bringing what I would like to receive, and also being a very clear no when it's not okay for me. So what I said to this man who's still living with me, I said, I don't want that around my kids. I don't want that in my life. And now we have an alcohol-free home, alcohol drug-free home, right? And it actually circles back to what Shane was talking about, which is really, really beautiful. When we hold that vibration, what's not at that vibration, as long as we don't sink, right? As long as we
That's
don't
right.
lower our vibration to meet someone, we can still
That's right.
connect with someone from a loving, a very sensitive place around where they are, where they've come from, with compassion, right? But not having to lower ourselves down to play those games and get embroiled in it. But what happens when we hold that vibration is stuff just naturally starts to fall away, right? Because the environment becomes so uncomfortable for people unless they're willing to lift to that vibration, right? It's like you bring communication that you want to receive, and people either have to step into that communication, or it becomes so uncomfortable they can't be around it. Yeah, and people will actually leave on their own, right? They'll be like, right, because they're not belonging, all of that stuff.
Yes. Sorry, I'm a bit slow. Could you say that last bit again?
When we stay at our own vibration,
Yes.
when we hold
Yes.
that and we bring what we would want to receive, so we're owning our stuff, right?
Yeah.
We're owning our parts in all of it, because we all have a part, right? Not
Yes.
lowering ourselves and getting hooked in, right?
Yeah.
Not getting hooked into their level of communication, or their level of, whatever behavior is happening, which is easy to do. Sometimes we can go into reaction because of what they're doing, right?
Yes.
But when we don't do
human.
that, when we don't do that, it can often become so uncomfortable for the person, that they'll just naturally fall away. Yeah. However,
That doesn't seem to have happened.
okay, so then
That's
we
where
need
we're
to,
up to.
then we need to get really clear on what
Yes.
it is that you want, right? I didn't want alcohol in my home. I didn't want
Yeah,
drugs in my
it's
home.
not any of those
Yep.
things.
But it can also be, I'm choosing for myself not to live in a home that has people that don't own their stuff, right? I want to have an honest home. I want to have a home where people are coming in and communicating at a level that, that feels in line with the way that you want to live, right? And what Larissa has written here, which is really, really helpful, because so often we can get so stuck in what we don't want, right? This is the behavior that I don't like, What do you want, right? Like when I said to my mum, that's the stuff I don't want to have at Christmas. This is the stuff I do, right? If you can say to this person, look, I would love to bring honest communication. I would love to own all, when I, am reacting or I'm doing something, then I want to bring that. And if they're not willing to step into that, then you got to ask yourself the question, why are they there?
Because they weren't like that in the beginning.
Okay. Yeah. Things,
And they're not,
as we
and they're
get to
not
know
like,
people.
and there's no consistency.
Right.
It depends, but I've noticed the patterns of when different people are in the room, how
Yeah.
things shift. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I find in relation to this, when there's, disparity of awareness and consciousness, is bringing my humanness to the table to start the conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can be
Oh,
as simple as, hey, you know what? I've been doing a lot of work on myself to try and understand myself better, and this is what I've learned about myself, and this is what I would love to create in our living environment. Are you willing to have a conversation around that?
and we already had that conversation before we moved in.
Yep. But it's changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you had a conversation around the changes?
I've had small conversations like, are you okay? Is there something you need? And there's just this stonewalling, I think is the word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to have a conversation and bring it all out onto and put it on the table. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's what I had to do.
So maybe it's hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? I've noticed these patterns.
Yeah. This is
and
just
I'm calling
this is
this
what
out.
I'm noticing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the energy is completely getting sucked out of the room. And
Yep.
if you've got a problem, if you've got some needs,
Yeah. It's like,
you need to
how can I
go
support?
and get them met,
Yeah.
or articulate what you need,
Yeah.
and negotiate whether you get it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it comes from this place of compassion, right? Hey,
That's right.
this is what I've
I
noticed.
know. I won't go into a conversation unless I'm in that zone.
This is what I've noticed, and Larissa's putting some good stuff. This is what I've observed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of people, they won't be honest, they won't be, truthful, forthcoming, because they've never been invited to do that, right? Someone's never asked them in that way. So giving him that option.
And I guess that's my fear, that they say, oh, well, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, then you can say what you've observed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, did you realize, and I mean, one of the easiest ways that I do, because once you bring yourself into it, your own humanness, as I've been getting to know myself better, I've seen this stuff playing out in me, that other people have helped me to see, because most of the time we don't know what's going on for us because we can't see it, right? It's opening conversations in that way. Yeah. Because we can't see our own stuff. We're not aware of our own behaviors, of our own patterns. Yeah. And when we can just say to someone gently, hey, I've just noticed this, what's going on? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Let us know how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Yep. Compassion, honesty, humanness, your own vulnerability, and what you want to create together in this house, because you're living alongside one another, right? Yeah. Beautiful. Because it's this play of both, right? And just for everyone that as we come to the end of our call, it's this play of both, right? What's going on? What's happening? What's the truth of what's going on? And also, what do you want to create? What's the vision here? Because if you don't have that, then all of this stuff's going to be playing out, right? and it's got the power, and you come into a place where it's like, I just got to fix all the stuff, right? It's like, hey, you know, this is what I would really love to be experiencing in our home, in our workplace, in our family, in our relationship, whatever it is, right? If you don't come into what you would want, what you would love, yeah, it's going to go the other way. Yeah. Cool. Good stuff, guys. Really, really good conversations. So what I'll do is we are at time. I'll go through the chat box and just make sure there was nothing that I missed. I know we've spoken around what Sarah asked at the beginning of the call quite a lot, but I'll, you know, if there's anything that I want to add, I'll pop it in the group. Awesome call, guys. Awesome conversations. This is stuff that's really alive in people. Yeah, and I'm really seeing it a lot out there. So I hope you got a lot out of it. If there's anything else that comes up that you would like some insight around, some discussion around, then pop it in the group, right? And I'm more than happy to do a live in the group and speak to whatever it is that's cooking. But great stuff, right? Great stuff. This stuff is just so, it's so empowering. It's so juicy, right? And we can bring it back to ourselves. Yeah, and we can ripple that out to the other people around us, and they're getting it, right? They're getting it by the way that we hold ourselves. Yeah, cool. All right, beauties, we know what to do. We're at the end of our call. You guys are going to take yourselves off mute and join me in a wolf yowl, because that's the way we roam in this group. And I'll get another date up for another call for our next monthly session, and I'll talk to you, Larissa, and we'll get some intuitive readings happening as well bi-weekly, which will be amazing because they're gold. They're gold. All right, beauties, join me on a yowl and we'll howl it out. I love it. It never gets old, eh, Shane Osmond? All right, beauties, go well with the rest of your day. Jump into the pack if there's any other questions you have. Otherwise, I will see you soon in the group and on other calls. Mwah! Much love to you all.
Ciao, fur babies.
Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, wolfies. Big love, everybody. Bye for now.